Hey guys, I'm Cameron. Welcome to my channel, and today I want to talk to you guys about what has made adjusting to being a mom of two under two a lot easier. So it's definitely not the easiest adjustment in the world. Actually, from the big families I've talked to, the moms say that the jump from 0 to 1 is a lot. Becoming a mom for the first time is a really big deal. But a lot of the times they say that jumping from 1 to 2 was actually their hardest transition. So that means that having all of the tips and tricks in order to make it easier doesn't hurt, because then you can kind of preserve some of yourself so that you have enough to give away to all of the little ones who need you, as well as your husband and your extended family and whoever else is asking for something from you, some of your love, some of your attention in this busy time. So if I look off to the side, I am reading my notes because my memory is not what it once was with a lack of sleep and, lots of little people running around, lots of barking dogs in the house. We're staying with my in-laws right now while I finish up my maternity leave. So I am looking at my notes so I don't forget anything. Okay, number one, baby carry. Baby carry, baby carry. It has been the biggest game changer for me. I baby carried with my first son a good amount. He was kind of colicky, and by kind of I mean he was very colicky. It was pretty tough. And baby carrying was one of the few places that he was happy. So I did that with him some, but he didn't always like it, so I didn't do it as much as I am doing now with my second son. He absolutely loves the carrier and only gets fussy if he's about to fall asleep or hungry. And honestly, it's just great because you can still interact with your toddler. You can't do everything the same, obviously, but you can interact with your toddler. You can go on walks. You can, cook, clean, whatever it is that you need to do. You can do that while you're carrying your baby. And honestly, most babies are a lot happier when they're close to mom. I learned for the first time actually with this baby that babies can smell mom. I don't know how, but they know you, they know your smell, they know that you are their home. You are their protector and their provider in this early phase of life. And so if they are close to your body, that's when they're going to be the most happy. And so I've been carrying him all over the place until my back gets exhausted, and then my my husband usually carries him. And now that our older son, now that our younger son is about 2 months old, he is now a fan of the swing. So that's awesome too, that sometimes I can rest and put him in the swing. But that was not the case for our older son, and so not every baby likes that. Okay, number two. I know this one's controversial, so I totally get it if you're not on board, but we decided to co-sleep. So right now we are actually co-sleeping with our son until basically he doesn't want to anymore. And the reason for that is that we could not get him to sleep. He would not sleep on his own. There was no chance. We would rock him. We would, hold him until he was asleep for a long time. I'd put him in his bassinet and he would wake up immediately. And so it became readily apparent to me that if I did not keep him close to me all night, then he was not going to sleep and I wasn't going to sleep, and then I wasn't going to be a good mom. I wasn't going to be a good wife. I wasn't going to be able to take care of my toddler. So I quickly, thoroughly and quickly as I could, adjusted to the idea of co-sleeping. And I looked up all of the tips about how to safely co-sleep, and we follow them all. And honestly, it has been amazing. Like, I can't think of a better word to describe how really awesome and special it is to have your little baby right there with you all night long, and just be able to turn to him when he's hungry and, feed him. We're nursing, so I'll spare you some of the details, but just roll over and be there for him and feed him right away whenever he needs it, and change his diaper in our bed, which is maybe a little bit gross, but oh well. We clean the sheets a lot, mostly because I have been leaking some, so it's really not his fault. And yeah, it's just been great. And I never thought I was going to be a co-sleeper. I never thought I would, try that out. I thought it was, not for me at all, that I didn't know what it meant for me and my husband to have a baby in the bed with us or any of that stuff. But it's honestly been great. And as soon as him and I don't want to do it anymore, or we're not sleeping as well as we would separate, then we will help him learn how to sleep on his own in a bassinet. But right now he's still little. He's only 8 weeks old. Okay, So ask for help. I talked about this in the last video that I posted about adjusting to life as a mom of 2 under 2, but asking for help has been a huge deal that I, before my first son was born, never liked to ask for help from anyone. I just felt like an imposition, a burden. I'm sure you guys have sometimes felt that way too when you are asking for all this help because you really need it. So, but you feel guilty because everybody else has their own stuff, they have their own problems in their own lives. But I realized that asking for help, A, was necessary. I couldn't do it all by myself, and so that was very humbling for me. But B, people like it. You know, people like to feel needed. And I started realizing that the alternative to asking for help, if I wasn't going to ask for help, I was going to be overwhelmed. And the other people who could help me, my friends and family, were going to miss out on an opportunity to spend more time with me, spend more time with our kids, and do something loving for someone else. And it's always additive to someone's life to give them an opportunity to be needed. And oh, that's my son. Let me grab him. Okay, I don't know how long this is gonna last, so I'll just try to put in one more tip, and that sounded weird. I'm gonna try to include one more tip and see if he will cooperate with me. Honestly, he was just sleeping on his own really well, like the longest he has this week. So the next tip that I will share, and then hopefully I'll get to finish this video or post the second half of this video later, but I realized very quickly that I needed clothes with pockets. And for some reason, most places don't make dresses with pockets. They even don't make like women's pants and shorts with pockets a lot of the times. So I went on Amazon and I bought some inexpensive nursing friendly dresses and clothes with pockets, and it has been a game changer because I can carry my phone around and I can carry all the other things that I need with the pockets and have them right there and not wonder, okay, where did I put that little thing that I'm constantly using? Whether it's, you know, a pacifier or like a little thing of Vaseline, because for some reason my hormones are all whacked out and my mouth is always dry, my lips are always dry. So I'm always carrying a few essentials in my pockets, and that has been a huge deal to me as well. Okay, what do you think? Do you want to keep going or should we stop? Okay, I think we're gonna cut the video off here and I will resume with the rest of my list. It's actually an incredibly long list now that I'm looking at it, in a, you know, either tack it on to the end of this video or post another video. Okay, so grandma actually just got back from the grocery store, and so she's holding baby now for the next 15 minutes or so while I finish up this video. So next item, jogger double stroller with car seat attachment. So we got a Bob stroller, and before you think we spent $700 on a stroller, we got it off of Facebook Marketplace for $30. It is the best thing ever. I used to play soccer in college, and now since graduating college, I basically just run. That's most of what I do to work out, unless I'm preparing to give birth, and then I'll do some weights or things to get strong for the delivery. But I love to run, and so having the jogger stroller was very important to me, but I did not want to spend an arm and a leg on a stroller. And also I realized once we got the stroller that it was not going to work for our newborn, and sometimes my back gets tired when I've been carrying the baby all day and I need to put him in the stroller, but I needed to be able to put him in his car seat so that he would be safe and secure as his, you know, tiny little body needs to be in a car seat type stroller. So my husband spent probably 3 hours literally looking online for a car seat attachment for the Bob stroller that allows us to put the car seat in there, and honestly it is the best thing ever because the attachment also has a tray for my toddler to eat snacks. And my toddler is in this phase right now where sometimes he will sit in the stroller for a while we walk to the park if he has a toy, but most of the time he wants to eat in the stroller. He doesn't really like eating, especially breakfast, at the table. He wants to eat on the move. So I have been just packing his breakfast and giving it to him in the stroller. And so if you've thought about, after you have 2 kids, if you're gonna just have a single stroller or if you really need a double, honestly, I have really needed a double stroller. And maybe not everybody does. Maybe you'll figure something else out, but having that double stroller that will also one day function as workout equipment, basically, I'm very excited about. Okay, next. Yeah, night before prep. So I never used to do this. I never used to prep anything the night before when I just had the one baby, but now I definitely need to. And I think a lot of that is because I'm pumping a lot. So I'm nursing, and my youngest son eats every meal. You know, nursing. He doesn't drink from the bottle yet. He doesn't like it, but I'm pumping in anticipation of one day him drinking from the bottle. And so I will wake up at least 30 minutes, if not more, before the boys wake up, and if they cooperate, that is, and pump and pray and, you know, read some spiritual writings by some of the saints, whatever is on the agenda for that morning. And that's been really nice to be able to do that early in the morning. But in order to preserve that time for just spending time with Jesus, basically, plus pumping, I have to do stuff the night before. And so I'll get the pump stuff ready the night before, clean it, you know, charge things, and get the breast milk storage bags all labeled, and I'll get my older son's food somewhat prepped and do some cleaning, put the toys away, whatever it is. I have a nighttime routine the night before, not even for our kids, but just for myself to kind of get in the right frame of mind, have some things done before the next morning. So that's been somewhat of adjustment, and it's not a huge deal, but it is definitely different that I am trying to squeeze in things that I need around my toddler's wake hours, which was very different than squeezing in things I need to do around just a newborn's wake hours, because obviously our toddlers are awake more than tiny babies. Okay, next. Throw out expectations for things you can't control. So I wrote down how tired you feel. That's been a big one for me, that I'm kind of like, you know, I'm tired. It's fine. I'm going to have a good attitude as much as I can, but I'm not going to feel like I need to get a ton more rest so that I feel normal, because you're not really supposed to feel normal right now. This isn't a normal phase of life, meaning that the newborn phase only lasts a few months for every baby. So even if you have 10 babies, you know, that's still a very small part of your life that you are adjusting to having a new baby. So it's very special, but it's also, you know, unique, and you don't need to worry that it's going to last forever. So the next thing I wrote down, how toddler reacts. That's mostly about how he gets along with his brother. He's been great. So I had very low expectations because my toddler is kind of rambunctious in the best way, but I didn't know how he was going to feel about a baby, but he's been awesome. So that's been really good. And I've also tried to not worry as much about the cleanliness of the house, which was hard at first because I love a clean house. I really do. And I don't mind cleaning. It's actually kind of relaxing, but it's not relaxing when I don't have time for it. So I've just decided to be okay with a less clean house in these early months. And then one day things will go back to a point where I can clean more, and that's fine. But right now I'm just enjoying living a little bit more laid back. And then the last one is for the baby. So I've tried to not have expectations about what my baby's personality is going to be like, how he sleeps, how he eats. You know, obviously he needs to sleep and he needs to eat, but as long as the basics are taken care of, when they happen, or how well they happen according to me or what I would like, you know, if I would like to nap, if he's not sleeping when I have time to nap, then I just don't nap that day. And that's okay, because I've started really trying to trust that. I heard this quote the other day by a saint, and it's slipping my mind that I can't remember who it was, but they said to work without worry about when you're going to rest. And that really resonated with me, that obviously we need to rest, but that's all in God's hands. When we're going to be able to rest, Jesus will give us the time that we need to rest. So even if it feels like we're tired and we need to rest and we're not able to at that moment, Jesus is going to give you what you need, or at least that's, you know, how it's really felt to me in this transitional period, that he knows when I'm at my limits and gives me a moment where the baby is sleeping really well on his own or is happy in his grandma's arms or something like that. And then I get to nap for a little bit. And then when I don't need it as much, maybe I don't get to nap, and that's okay. Okay, next one. This is just sort of like a small hack thing with the diapers that I realized we needed for our newborn, who, by the way, is growing super fast. He was born just under 8 pounds, and he's not even 2 months old yet, and he's already 14 pounds. So he's a pretty big baby, especially compared to our last baby, and he pees so much, which is great. He's really healthy, but he was peeing through all the diapers in the world when he was first born, and we were changing the sheets and cleaning them every single day, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. We didn't think we were going to be doing laundry once a week, let alone like every single day. So we started double diapering him, basically just putting 2 diapers on him at once, and that has prevented him peeing through his diapers really well. I mean, and just for a little bit of background, we're still changing his diaper like every 2 hours because he's eating every 2 hours, but even with changing it every 2 hours, he was still peeing through all of his diapers. So putting 2 on at a time was great. If you're struggling with that and you're wondering, do I need to size up? Maybe you just need to put another diaper on there, and that's fine too. He's still in size 1 diapers, by the way, but he's about to move to size 2. Okay, stop making future plans. That's not like exactly what it sounds like. It's not that you can't make plans with people. I don't mean you can't socialize and stuff. Even though we aren't doing the most socializing, we're mostly having people come to us or just like going to the park with our friends who have kids right now. But basically, one of my biggest issues throughout my life has been thinking too much about the future, trying to plan out every little detail of a timeline of the future, that I'm just very much a forward thinker. And I realized that was robbing me of my ability to really enjoy today. So, for example, a few weeks after our son was born, I started worrying about when I was going to make content again, when I was going to start posting on YouTube again, even though I had already built up this, series of videos that were going to be posted during my maternity leave. I started worrying about, okay, well, when am I going to start making content again? When am I going to start working again? When is my son going to, be able to be without me for a couple hours here and there so that I can see clients or whatever it was? And I just realized that it didn't actually matter how much I thought about that the timing wasn't going to change. I wasn't going to be able to plan so well that my plans would come to fruition perfectly. Basically, that Jesus's timing was going to happen. He was going to reveal things to me and show me the things that I needed to be doing in his own timing. And it didn't matter how much I was ruminating about those plans or worrying or trying to figure out what I was going to be doing 3 months from now or 3 years from now or 30 years from now. It didn't matter. It was going to happen when it was going to happen. And I just needed to take a breather, take a chill pill. Chill pill. I can't believe I said that. I haven't said that in 10 years. And just try to, focus on the moment, because that's all we have right now. And I really love the idea that I heard several years ago about the only place that God is accessible to us is in the moment, because he exists in the past, present, and future outside of time, but we only exist right now. And so the only place we can commune with him is the present, and that is where he gives us all of his graces. And so if we're too worried about the past or the future, then that means we can't recognize the grace that he's giving us right now, and the joys and the challenges and everything that he's doing for our souls. Okay, next thing. Be thankful for the struggles now, because they're training you to be a strong mama and wife for the future. So this has been so big for me that when there's hard stuff, instead of, complaining, I actually did a challenge last week that I'll make a video about, where I just didn't complain for an entire week, and it was awesome and kind of hard. So I'll talk about that more in another video. But basically taking every challenge as an opportunity to get stronger, to train for whatever we're going to have to deal with in the future. Being a mom is hard. I know a lot of people say it's the hardest job. I think it's definitely the most important job, is being a parent. And you're raising the next generation. You're literally raising the future of the human race. And what you do matters so much more to your children than to any other person on the planet. Like even to your spouse. Your spouse is already largely a formed person. They're already an adult, but your kids aren't, so as much as you can have an impact on other people in your life, you can have a 100 times bigger impact on your children. And so I tried to think about every hard moment, whether it's my toddler having a tantrum or my newborn not wanting to sleep at night or me just being exhausted or the pain that I felt during childbirth, especially. That was painful, but also, the recovery. These are all hard things, but they are all good hard things, if you know what I mean. So they aren't things that are tragic. It's not like my family member is sick or someone died or anything like that's just horrible. These are good challenges that I can be joyful about. And so I'm trying to really appreciate that these hard challenges that God is giving me are things that can still bring me a lot of joy while also training me for whatever I need to deal with in the future. So that's made all the hard moments a lot lighter, a lighter yoke to carry with Christ, because I know that He's doing this for my own good. Next one. Pray as often as you can, quick and filled with love. So for those of you that aren't Catholic, there's something that we have called adoration, where you go and sit in a small chapel in front of the body of Christ. They sit the body of Christ out in front of the tabernacle, so Christ is exposed, and you just go and you sit and adore Him, basically. So he's out, the body, meaning it's a wafer that is then transubstantiated into the body of Christ. This is a lot of background for people who aren't Catholic, but this all goes to say that my favorite place to pray is in adoration, and we actually have an adoration chapel that's literally a 150-yard walk from my in-laws' house, which is where we're staying right now, and where I do not want to leave because I love having Jesus so close by. So praying as often as possible, whether it's in adoration or just kind of in my day-to-day life. Adoration is my favorite, but I've also been trying to practice the presence of God, which is this wonderful book by Brother Lawrence that I'll make another video about eventually. It's so awesome, but it's basically just the simple practice of always thinking of God whenever you can. So if it's, you wake up in the morning and you think of Him, and just quick things like, I love you, Jesus, or be with me right now so that this work is done as well as I can do it because you're here with me. Just always trying to turn your attention to Him, even if it's just a very quick hello, or a quick sorry about that. I have a lot of those. So that's been really special and restful. I think that's the biggest word I can use to describe having a really consistent habit of prayer throughout the day, is that is restful in itself. So even though I'm sleeping less than I did with our first son, I feel more rested, and I think a big part of that is just spending more time thinking of Jesus and praying to Him and remembering that He's got it, and I just kind of have to keep chugging along and taking all of the graces and challenges as they come. Okay, next one. Be okay with good enough. I'm trying to think of some sort of parenting philosophy, like how to name this philosophy that I am developing, where you do it really well in the areas that matter. So like when you're trying to teach your kids certain values, like sharing, or being thankful, that's really important, and you do that super well, or discipline, for example. But then every other area, so for me, it's like what time my kids eat. They eat when they're hungry, or what they're wearing. Sometimes it doesn't match, or sometimes it's dirty and it's fine, but just good enough parenting in the areas that don't actually matter that much. And that has been so good. That's taken a lot off my plate, is not having to worry about everything and just focusing on the things that really matter. So obviously our kids' safety and having their physical needs met, but also having their emotional needs met, and trying to teach them what they need to know right now. Next one, drink caffeine. That's a big one. I don't know why I didn't want to drink caffeine with my first son after he was born. I think I was really freaked out that if I drank caffeine, then he was gonna be really fussy, but I don't drink a lot. I think so. I'm a tea drinker, so I don't actually know the conversion to coffee, but I drink like 1 to 2. Actually, it's right here, so it's about this big. 1 to 2 mugs of that tea a day. So I think that's like 1.5 cups of coffee or less. I don't know, but it's really not that much, but it makes a huge difference, especially when I can't nap, or even when I'm like waking up from a nap super groggy. I'm like, oh my gosh, what time is it? Where am I? I just drink some of my tea and then I feel a lot better. So that's helped a lot. It's just required me to admit that I need a little bit of help from people, but also from caffeine. My husband calls it the miracle drug. So it has been a miracle for me for sure. So if you're worried about your baby being fussy, I would just try it out if you need the caffeine. Obviously, this isn't medical advice by any means, but just try it a little bit. And if they're fine, then maybe you can up the dose a little bit if you need it. But I've read on the internet now that, if it's like 5 cups of coffee a day, that's probably gonna not make your newborn very happy if you're nursing. Yeah, by the way, this is only if you're nursing. If you're not nursing, it doesn't matter. So just try a little bit at first and then maybe increase as you go, and then just respond to the baby's cues. Okay. Bought in bulk diapers and wipes pre-baby. Organized hand-me-downs pre-baby. Okay, yeah, so I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of nesting. I did a lot of nesting the first time with our first son, but I did a lot of nesting this time too, and I had the most fun with it. So it's great. So don't ever let anybody tell you that nesting is weird or you're, over preparing. You want to feel prepared as much as you can for your baby, because there's a lot of stuff we can't prepare for, but there are some things that we can, like organizing hand-me-downs by season and size, so that when your baby grows way faster than your first baby, like mine, you have the clothes that you need. He's already like growing out of 3-month clothes when he was 6 weeks old, so that's been really fun. He's a chunky guy. And yeah, so organized the clothes ahead of time, vacuumed the whole house, did a bunch of cleaning that I don't normally do before the baby came, and also, yeah, bought like a bunch of bulk stuff from Costco. We don't have a Costco membership yet, but my parents do, so they took us right before the baby was born, which was super fun. My toddler loved the samples, and bought just so many diapers, like so many. I didn't think we were going to get through all of them, but we did. And now it's about time to buy some more for both kids. Yeah, having 2 kids in diapers, the diaper pail fills up so fast. I feel like I'm taking out a garbage bag of diapers every other day now. So, okay. Oh, that's everything. Wow, that's surprising. Okay. So that's all the items that I wrote down. I'm sure I forgot some. If you want to know anything else specific about what it's like transitioning to being a mom of 2 under 2, or really anything having to do with little ones, please leave a comment. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And until next time, I'm Cameron, and thanks for watching.